Hi, welcome back. Ted McClyman, author of the book, Discover Your Money Temperament. This is video 7, which corresponds to chapter 7 in the book, Your Money Knowledge. By now, I hope you've had a chance to order the book. You're starting to go through it. I hope you've had some insights. And at a minimum, I hope you now have a better understanding of why humans are not good with money, identified your basic big V values, and have a better understanding of how you naturally think and feel about money. Money knowledge is the next step in the money behavior system. It's another step that is ignored by traditional financial literacy and financial training programs, but I think it's important. When I say money knowledge, it's more than technical knowledge or just knowing about how money works. It's really beyond that. And it's really how you process money information, how you learn, how you take it in, and the best way and most efficient way for you to learn about your money choices. Money knowledge is important, but it's never really talked about in our culture. We just assume you get it. And not only are we not wired to work well with money, very few people have the technical skills and knowledge necessary to make solid money choices. We just don't seem to place a very high value on computer or financial literacy, and training people about money is almost an afterthought. Usually you get in trouble and then they'll send you to a budget class, or they'll show you how to reconcile your bank statement. And you know, sometimes people have to go through bankruptcy to figure out, oh, that's how that works. It's kind of crazy, but that's the way we do things. We also need to know a little bit about the money industry. The money industry is massive. It's a $1 trillion industry worldwide. And unfortunately, the financial services industry has grown too complicated and sophisticated for the average individual to keep up with. Heck, the pros can't even keep up with it. And the pros get it wrong all the time. So what makes you think you can do it? The problem we're facing right now with money is there's too much information coming at you too fast. It's confusing. It doesn't make sense. As soon as we think we've mastered one piece of it, something's changed. And it's just hard. Money is hard. So, and a lot of the money information that you're bombarded with daily is flat outdated, biased, and inappropriate or simply wrong for you based on your values and temperament. Let me say that again. Not only is the industry confusing, it's big, it's sophisticated and complex. It's hard to figure out what's going on and even interpret the products and services. But a lot of the information that you're being given on a daily basis is not appropriate for you based on your money values and temperament, even though the information is technically correct. How's that for a smack on the side of the head piece of information? Yeah, you might have great information and you might be doing wonderful things technically with money, but it may not be aligned with your temperament and values. That is a problem. Also know that information is not knowledge. Just because you've got a lot of information and data, that does not necessarily translate into knowledge. And that can be a huge blind spot for a lot of people. Most of the money industry focuses on products and services and know nothing about values and temperament. They talk about behavior in the most abstract terms, but they never will sit down with you on an individual basis to help you determine your money temperament. And they confuse values and goals. And we talked about that at length a couple of videos back. The other problem that you have to get your head around and you need to understand that most people are not really number savvy. For a lot of people, when you start giving a lot of numbers and a lot of this algorithms and sophisticated stuff, they start shutting down. Your feeling brain does not like to be a numbers person. And a lot of people are very uncomfortable when you're talking about numbers and you're putting in that thinking brain complex. But the reality is the money industry thrives on numbers. And you may not. The money industry has a number for everything. They can design a formula or an algorithm that they say will predict the future, which they can't, or they have data that they can design correlations that they say will give you absolute information to get it right the next time. And that's Well, that's hard to do too. But the bottom line is it's an industry that thrives on numbers. It's run by people that thrive on numbers. And you may not be a numbers person. So right there, you're at a disadvantage. So realize that the money industry, the traditional trillion-dollar money industry, it's critical. You've got to know something about it, but it may not be a place you're comfortable because of your natural money temperament and how you process information. And I'll talk about that next. To me, money knowledge is also about how you learn, how you take in information. It's called learning modality or learning style. In the book, Dr. Faye Hargrove has a really cool exercise called the ODEE style inventory that can help you determine your natural learning style. And when I was at graduate school, or one of my graduate programs is in instructional performance technology, and we spent a lot of time figuring out how people take in information, process information, and the most efficient way to do that. Well, for here, let's just assume there are 4 ways you filter money information. And they are first through your eyes. Visual. I see. Show me again. I see where you're going. Show me a picture. I like graphs. It may be auditory. I hear what you're saying. Tell me again. I love lectures. I thrive on audiobooks. Kinesthetic. Feeling. Let me touch it. Give me that. I want to hold it. Let's go drive the car. Or auditory digital. And this is one of Faye's terms. I want to take it apart. I like process. I like procedures. I like numbers. Well, we're all wired to take in information through our senses, being our eyes, our ears, touch and feel, smell. Our bodies are information receptors. We're taking in trillions of bits of information daily, and we use that information through our mind to make choices. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or we want to take it apart. What you need to understand is the money industry is all about numbers, and it attracts numbers people. So often you're in a situation talking to a numbers professional or a money professional, and they're going off on this rabbit trail, talking about numbers and spreadsheets and this, that, and the other thing, and algorithms and correlations, and your head explodes because they're number people and you're not. And I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I'm just saying that's the way they process information. Have you ever been in a situation where you've talked to somebody who is a real number person and you're not a number person and you're talking about the same thing and they're confused by the way you talk about it and you're confused by the way you talk about it, but you're talking about exactly the same thing? Well, that's a problem in a very consequential spending situation. Let me give you an example. In the money industry, they bring people from the field every now and then to go to the companies that invent products and services, to sit down with the team, to kind of work through the process, to give them feedback and the like. It's called a due diligence meeting. Well, as a financial advisor a few years ago, I sat through a due diligence meeting in Boston with a team from Fidelity, and we were talking about and reviewing a new mutual fund that they hope to release within the year. Well, the team that was designing the product were card-carrying PhDs, analytics, number-type person, card-crunching people that you can't take out in public, but they were brilliant. We from the field were mostly from the retail sales force, and we are people, and we deal with relationships and real people. Most of us in the field have never seen the number of stuff that they're dealing with, and the people on the team have never seen a client. So right there, we've got a problem. Well, we're sitting through one of the briefings on how this product was put together, and they brought in the 2 leads of the team. One was German, one was French. They both had advanced degrees in analytical sciences, I think, theoretical statistics and physics or something like that. Really, really bright people. One was French, one was German. Well, I knew it was going to be a long brief when the lead briefer stood up and said, hey, I've got some screenshots here of spreadsheets that I was working on before the presentation. I'm just going to throw them up here, but I know you can't see them from the back, but I'm just going to run through them. And it went downhill from there. We didn't know what they were talking about. It was all numbers and equations and heavy math stuff. It got so bad that the two briefers that were on the lead, again, one French or one German, they had a disagreement on one of the slides and started arguing in German in front of us. My gosh, the only thing that stopped the argument is our heads banging against the table saying, "Stop the pain." But the takeaway here is we were all bright people. Everybody in the room had an advanced degree or multiple advanced degrees in different disciplines. My thing is behavior, not math. I can crunch numbers, I'm comfortable around statistics, and I can do it, but that's not where I live. On the other hand, the two PhDs were number people. They lived in the number sphere. They saw the elegance and the beauty and symmetry of numbers and were not real good with people. The problem you've got to realize is that you are unique in the sense that you have a unique set of values, a unique temperament, and a unique way of processing information that works for you. You need to understand that the money industry, by design, is a number-focused industry. And then when you get to compliance, compliance is that legal stuff you have to sign before you can walk out with a product or service. It may be a contract, it may be a disclaimer, it may be a clause to indemnify the company from what they sold you. It's usually got multiple pages in small print written by a lawyer. Okay? Most people are not prepared to read that stuff or understand it. So you can see right now in the money industry and you working with money and trying to make the best decision possible for you, there's an ongoing conflict between how you like to process information, what you would naturally like to do, which is all feeling brain stuff, but you've got to put yourself in a situation that you can get through the requirements and the drudgery of reading the numbers, signing the paper, and moving forward, which is thinking brain. That's hard. But you've got to force yourself to do it if you want to make good decisions and not waste your money on products and services you don't need or don't understand. Also remember, when you're moving away from the financial industry and you just get into our culture in general, we are a consumption culture. And I would submit that most everything around you is conspiring against you to separate you from your money. Most of the spending situations you're in are designed to be a trap to stimulate your senses and exploit your feeling brain to non-consciously spend money. In most cases, you don't even know what's happening. It's because we're human. And we go to human places defined by humans to make our spending choices. So what's the takeaway with the knowledge video? How can you protect yourself? What do you need to know? Now, this is covered in detail in the chapter. Highly recommend you read it and go through the drills. But here's what you need to know. Number one, you are an information filter. On any given second, 24/7, you're being bombarded by all kinds of sensory information which your mind and body process to regulate your temperature, to pump your blood, to create emotions, to have you take action, to protect yourself, etc. You are a filter. You tend to filter information through your senses. And there are 4 filters as far as we're concerned in this video. Your eyes, your ears, your feel, and whether you're naturally wired to take apart the process. We also know your nose has a major part about it. So your senses are critical. You filter information, you make decisions based on how you take in the information, how you process the information, where it resides in your feeling brain, which is not perfect, and you spend accordingly. Do you think it's a coincidence that every food court in America has somebody selling hot cookies and pretzels? Or the better stores have the perfect lighting, the perfect design, the perfect colors? That often a salesperson wants you to hold a garment, to feel a garment, to try it on? Do you know why that car salesman wants you to take the drive, to take ownership? It's because that's the way you process information. And if you're not careful, your feeling brain is going to overcome your thinking brain, and it's gone. And all of a sudden you end up with a Louis Vuitton purse that you didn't think you needed, but you bought, a car that costs too much, a house that's not right. You fill in the blank. You filter information through your senses. Your senses are wired to you. You have a preference, but too much sensory information, too much data is just noise. And when it becomes noise, you tend to shut down. And when you tend to shut down, the first thing to go is your thinking brain, and you move into your feeling brain, survival mode, and the switch is react, often just run away. Remember, information and data is not knowledge. Just because you've got a pile of facts and you've got a pile of data and you're getting your information on television and social media or the duty expert in the carpool, that does not necessarily translate into knowledge for you based on how you process information, your value set, and your temperament. The money industry is biased towards numbers, information, and data. So when you move into a consequential spending decision that's going to force you to make choices based on numbers, information, and data, you need to be prepared. It may be you take somebody with you who's an expert, a financial advisor, a coach, a lawyer. It may mean that you sit down and demand that the information be presented to you in a way that you process information. Demand that information be presented in a way that complements your style, your preferences, and expectations. Critical spending decisions are thinking brain processes. But everything we've been talking about with filtering and emotions is feeling brain. Never allow yourself to get into the trap that because you feel you're overconfident, too smart, or embarrassed to say, I don't know what you're talking about, that you do something you're going to regret. Let me say that again, and this is a problem with smart people. Do not allow yourself to be badgered, bullied, or embarrassed to feel badly that you do not understand the information, the data, the requirement, the offer, or the contract simply because it's presented in a way you don't understand. Stop, count to 10, say, I need some help here. At a minimum, if it's so bad, walk away. If it's that good a deal, they'll come back and talk to you. Believe me. So there you go, money knowledge. Third element of the money belief system, another tool in your quiver, if you will, or arrow in your quiver to help you make better money choices. Money knowledge. It's more than balancing your checkbook. Have a great day.